In the shadows of Japanese history, a name has been whispered, a legend almost lost to time: Shimazu Yoshihiro. They called him the Demon Shimazu, a warrior whose ferocity was matched only by his cunning. But what if I told you his most incredible feat, a one-man stand against an entire clan, is a story that has been largely forgotten? This isn't just a tale of swords and honor. It's a story of impossible odds, breathtaking courage, and a strategic genius that defied an entire army. Prepare to uncover the legend of the samurai who took on a clan and walked away. Born in 1535 into the powerful Shimazu clan of Satsuma Province, Yoshihiro was one of 4 exceptionally talented brothers. From a young age, it was clear he was different. While his brothers excelled in politics and diplomacy, Yoshihiro's heart belonged to the battlefield. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a student of war, devouring every text on strategy and tactics he could find. His first taste of battle came at just 16, and it was there, amidst the chaos and clamor of clashing steel, that he found his true calling. He wasn't afraid, he was alive. This early experience forged him, sharpening his instincts and hardening his resolve. Little did anyone know that this young warrior would one day be pushed to his absolute limit, forced to rely on every ounce of his skill and courage in a battle for the ages. Our story reaches its climax in the late 16th century, during Japan's tumultuous Sengoku period. The country was a chessboard of warring clans, and the Shimazu were major players in the south. However, their ambition brought them into direct conflict with the powerful Ito clan. Their bitter rivals, the Ito, led by the shrewd Ito Yoshisuke, controlled vast territories and commanded a massive army. Tensions had been simmering for years, erupting into frequent brutal skirmishes along their borders. The Ito clan, confident in their numerical superiority, decided it was time to crush the Shimazu once and for all. They assembled a force of over 3,000 samurai, a veritable sea of warriors, and set their sights on a key Shimazu outpost, Kizaki Castle. This wasn't just a castle, it was a symbol, and its fall would signal the beginning of the end for the Shimazu. Defending Kizaki Castle was none other than Shimazu Yoshihiro, but he wasn't leading a grand army. The main Shimazu forces were engaged elsewhere, leaving Yoshihiro with a skeleton crew. How many, you ask? Not 1,000, not 500. Sources say he had just 300 men. 300 samurai against 3,000. The odds weren't just bad, they were suicidal. The Ito army, swaggering with confidence, surrounded the small fortress, their banners blotting out the horizon. They expected a quick surrender. After all, what could 300 men do against 3,000? They were about to find out. They weren't facing just any samurai, they were facing the demon Shimazu. As the Ito forces prepared for their final assault, a sense of doom hung over Kizaki Castle. But inside, Yoshihiro was a picture of calm. He knew a direct confrontation was suicide. A siege would starve them out in days. His only chance lay in doing the unthinkable. He had to abandon the very fortress he was sworn to defend. Under the cloak of darkness, Yoshihiro and his 300 men slipped out of the castle, melting into the surrounding forests and hills. To the Ito scouts it looked like a panicked retreat. Their commanders laughed, the cowards had fled. The next morning the Ito army marched triumphantly towards the seemingly empty castle, their guard completely down. But this was no retreat. It was the deadliest trap of Yoshihiro's career. Yoshihiro knew the local terrain like the back of his hand. He had studied the narrow passes, the dense woods, and the marshy grounds. This was his territory, and he was going to make the Ito clan pay for every step they took. He divided his tiny force into even smaller, mobile units. This wasn't going to be a battle, it was going to be a hunt. As the massive Ito army snaked its way through a narrow wooded valley towards the castle, the first ambush struck. A volley of arrows rained down from unseen archers, sowing confusion. Before the Ito could react, a small group of Yoshihiro's samurai charged from the trees, cut down the vanguard and vanished back into the forest. Panic began to ripple through the Ito ranks. They were being attacked from all sides, but they couldn't see their enemy. Yoshihiro's men used the terrain to perfection, employing hit-and-run tactics that were both terrifying and brutally effective. They'd strike a flank, cause chaos, and disappear before the larger force could even turn to face them. It felt as though the very forest had come alive with vengeful spirits. The Ito army, so confident just hours before, was now a disorganized, terrified mob. Their numerical advantage was useless in the tight confines of the valley, where they were funneled into a perfect kill zone. Yoshihiro wasn't just fighting a battle, he was conducting a symphony of chaos. The climax of this masterful plan was a tactic known as luring the fish. Yoshihiro deliberately left the main road to the castle open, a clear invitation. As the panicked and disjointed Ito forces poured onto this seemingly safe path, they walked directly into the master's final checkmate. Yoshihiro and his main force, who had been lying in wait, slammed into the enemy's exposed flank. The charge was devastating. At the same time, the smaller units that had been harassing them from the woods now closed in from the rear, completely encircling the much larger army. The hunters had become the hunted, trapped, demoralized, and attacked from every direction. The Ito army completely shattered. It was a total rout. Warriors dropped their weapons and fled, only to be cut down by the relentless Shimazu samurai. When the dust settled on the field of Kizaki, the scale of Yoshihiro's victory was staggering. The Ito clan hadn't just been defeated, they had been annihilated. They lost their top commanders, thousands of their best warriors, and their will to fight, all at the hands of just 300 men led by one brilliant strategist. This single battle crippled the Ito clan so severely that they never recovered, paving the way for the Shimazu to dominate southern Kyushu. Yoshihiro's reputation as the demon Shimazu was cemented in blood and legend. He had achieved the impossible, turning a hopeless defense into one of the most decisive and lopsided victories in samurai history. His tactics at Kizaki would be studied for generations. So why has this incredible story been so overlooked? History is often written by the victors, and as Japan was unified under leaders like Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the tales from the distant southern province of Satsuma took a back seat. The grand battles of the Central Plains took precedence in the history books, but the legend of Shimazu Yoshihiro and his 300 warriors at the Battle of Kizaki reminds us that courage and genius can be found in the most unexpected places. It's a testament to the idea that it's not the size of the army that matters, but the mind of its commander and the spirit of its fighters. A true master of war can turn a disadvantage into their greatest weapon. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time to uncover the story of the demon Shimazu. If you enjoyed this dive into forgotten history, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more tales of legendary warriors and epic battles. Let me know in the comments what other historical figures you'd like to see covered. Until next time, stay curious.